This is question 4 of our evaluation for our music video and digipack and magazine advert. I want to talk about when we use the Photoshop for digipack and magazine advert. I'll put on screen now that the digipack, one of the panoramic views that we had was the artist in 3 different sections, and he was being placed in a field, but the field had different things that we didn't want. For instance, you can see that there's a white line from where the football pitch is, as well as the goalposts. There's one way that we did change that was by using the clone tool. Using this icon here that I can show you, we click on that and then click on Alt, holding that down and picking a spot near to the line, clicking that, and then that should be done, and then pretty much painting over the parts that you're not needed. So if this white line, I'll do it like so, and yeah, we see that the goalposts and lines in the field that's unwanted will be gone since you've done it all, and so yeah, that's how we got rid of them. And what else have we done? Another thing that we used for our digipack, you can see in the middle from our digipack that it has the lens flare effect, which can be done easily. You just go on the click on the background image and then select the filter on the top, and then click on render, which reveals like a list, and then there's one that says lens flare. And then when you click on that, a window should pop up, and you can adjust the position like so and anywhere on the screen, and then you can also change the brightness and how big the lens flare you want it to be, in which case we put it in the middle. We think it looks better there and a bit more professional. And once you click OK, you can see what it looks like, and that should be all done. Now on one side of it, and particularly the left side, we can see that it's not brighter than the other, it's just sort of dark. So in order to brighten this up, that we've used the select tool, so you highlight the area that you want, in which case this is an oval as the example, and then we feathered the edges around so that it blends in with the background. So you click on Refine Edge, and then go on to Feather and do it quite a bit, so it does merge in nicely instead of just one big white blob. And then once that is done, you can now add a new layer, but this is while that circle is selected. So you click on right at the bottom, new layer, and that should pop up onto the side like so. And then use the paint tool, which I'm showing you now, that icon, and then just paint over it in white. Now the reason for this is the layer that we're making and painting it over, we want it to make the background behind it lighter, so we click on the normal, that's on the side here, and if we want to make it lighter, we'll put soft light, which will bring it all lighter. Now in order for it to blend in with the background a bit more, you can change the opacity so it's slightly left or right, so I'm going to do that, and it just blends in with the background just so. Now for the other parts, we have the text that we put on. This is done by clicking on the T icon on the left, and then selecting the place where you want it. Now with the text you can change the size and the font family, all that sort of thing. For ours, we used one called CF Revolution. Once we've used that, click on it and type in whatever you want. For this case, we put Daltrey. You can change the colour, which is shown on the top right corner. You can see all the colours, and you can pick and highlight and adjust whichever colours you like. In which case we've done that. And also with the light brightness, you can change if it's a strong font, or and just simply like that, and you can move it around. however you like it. Moving on to the guitar, this is another image that I've used. We've used this one for the digipack, at the back cover. As we've made it more sort of subtle, we've made it sort of dark, blurred, that sort of thing, so it's sort of nice in the background, not in your face when you have the text of the tracks. So in order to do this, we've clicked on Filter, and then gone highlight into Blur, and then you should have one that's called Gaussian Blur. This will change. This will make it all blurry for the image that you've got at the moment. And then, in order for it to change, you drag the slider up and down to how much blurred you want it. And it doesn't really matter about the background as such, because you can change that later. So we've made it blurred like this, like so, and then we've changed the brightness and contrast so that it gets rid of that. It gets completely rid of that green. So in order to do that, you click on adjustments, and then brightness and contrast, and then just change the darkness and also the contrast as well to bring out the colours of it. And that's what we've done for Photoshops, and that will hopefully help you making yours. So now we want to the Adobe Premiere that we've used. This is for editing wise. We've made the following ways to make it as best as possible, basically. So right now I've already put the videos on, we've imported them, and along with the soundtrack. We've placed the soundtrack already on the timeline. Now this, we've made sure that the videos that we've made are synced up with the song already. When we've shot them, we placed an iPod with the song on, and so that the artist can lip sync along with that. So once we know that one lyric is synced up in a clip, we know that the rest is. So we've done that in different ways. So that was our priority, was to make the lip syncing well. And in order to help that, we've put all the clips in, put the clips inside, and zoomed in on the clips along with the soundtrack. This makes the timeline a little bit in more detail, to the nearest millimeter, in close details. This is so if it's out of sync, we can adjust it slowly left or right in accordance to the song track. So once we've done that and played it through, we can see that if it's link synced, and do that for all the tracks. Once we've done all that, all of it's done, now we can get onto the editing and get creative with it. Well, the first one that we've done is a transparent layer. As we can see from the videos, that they still don't have that professional look. So we've used a transparent layer that uses the corners and darken them, giving it sort of an iris effect that makes it look more professional, with a good media industry camera. So in order for this to work, we've clicked on New Item, and then Transparent Video, and put that across the whole timeline. And then once we've done that, we've clipped onto the effects, clicked on that, make sure it's highlighted, and then on effects control, and then we type in circle, like so, and then we invert it. We change the colour to black instead of the white, and then invert it so that only the outsides have gone black, and then we just change it, increase the size. We can do this by doing uniform and undoing the uniform, and then positioning up and down, scaling it so it's all nice. And now, so we want it about here, and then this is where we can feather it, change the opacity first of all, sorry. And then for the narrative, as you've seen from our product, most of it's in black and white. So this is done by another adjustment layer. So you click on New Item, and then Adjustment Layer. Cover that for the whole timeline, and then you can drag it through throughout the whole timeline, and then go on to effects, black and white, and then go on to the effects control and ensure that what's on screen is also in black and white. This can be changed in terms of darkness and contrast with the darks and the whites, simply by doing on the layer, on the adjustments, and then brightness and contrast. This can be done, if you can see here. You can switch it side to side, however way you like it. And then once that's all done, then we can now cut the adjustment layer to the parts where we need it, which is the narrative in our case, and so that only the narrative parts are the only ones that are in black and white. You may have noticed as well in the product that at the start you see the black and white slowly fading in while the characters are arguing. This can be easily done by, on the adjustment layer, you drop it down so you can see a little bar. Now this bar is how much of the effect is going to take on the video. So we change the start of it by clicking on 2 points of it, which is the start and a point where we want the full effect to start. So once I've done it like here, and then we simply click on select and select one of those points and place the first one to the bottom and then the second one up to the top, and then this can be changed to preference on how fast and slow this one is fading in. And then once that's done, you can now move on to the end, which we've used for each character in parts of their narrative, so it will fade back out. We've used coloured filters for the artist, which consists of another adjustment layer, where we put above the first one that we made. So we clicked on the video effects for this adjustment layer, make sure it's highlighted, and then change the colour like so. I'll show you on screen, and then we turned uniform off on the motion, and then we changed the scale, which we've done for our one. We've narrowed it down, we've decreased the width but increased the height so that it goes all the way up to the top, and put that in the middle of the screen so make sure that it positions well. And then as you can see that we can look through the screen, so it'll be fine, not to worry. Once this layer has been done, then we can cut it to the right places. Cut it to the places where we want it, which is in the artist for our case. And we cut it into the right places for us. So for our instance, we put it where the artist is. From our product as well, we've seen that for our solo shot, we've used a more bright contrast for it instead of sort of grey and dim. This can be easily done by just highlighting the clips and clicking the adjustments and brightness and contrast, and then slowly moving up and down on the brightness and contrast to any preference you like. So we think it would be easier for us to click each clip and change the brightness instead of an adjustment layer, so that we know having a unique brightness and contrast to each shot, so that's not always uniform. It just has a different effect, to be honest. So that's what we've done. You've also seen at the top of the we also see at the start of the solo at the beginning we've seen a small effects that have been played from the start where it introduces the solo. This was a preset that we found, and this was done by using an adjustment layer over the top of the solo on the timeline. This adjustment layer was viewed on top of the solo throughout the whole thing, and we clicked on it and chose the preset settings on the effects and chose the one that we desired, like so. I think we've chosen this one, and then we've chosen our presets and made sure that it's on the adjustment layer that we've chosen, and so now we can drop down the adjustment layer to the parts where we want it to fade in quickly and then fade back out again. And we've done this just like the black and white filter. We've used 2 points, like so, but this time put them more squidged up together, so it's they fade out and then fade back in again. Once we've done this, then we can now cut the adjustment layer to only the parts where it was needed. For our research, I used this particular website as it will calculate where the sun will be at different times. This was because of our initial idea was to film during the day and then edit it so it looks like it's nighttime. So for this research that we've done, I used a website called Suncalcnet. This is where we can type in where we are, what the film location was. So for instance, if I place one in now and click the date which we were initially planning for our film, which we've done so, and there we can see a circle over our current location, and we can then see a bar on the top of the map where the time of the days will be, and pick the sort of time that we will be filming, in which case it would be about 4 o'clock. We can see here that the sun, using this line, that the sun will be down this sort of direction. We can use this as sort of our advantage, so that we can see on Google Maps where our film location is, where our possible camera positions will be, and to see whether or not the sun will be in the shot or not. This can also be done by seeing the shadows as well. So we planned that so that all the sun sort of conventions that we see on the camera is avoided, so that once we do go on the effects, we can turn it to night. But because we haven't done that, we didn't change the nighttime. We still use this research onto whether we want the shadows, and hoping that the buildings won't create more shadow than we needed. And so this has worked really well. We've taken it for each of our favours. During the filming, we've used the following equipment. We used a camera, a tripod, a dolly, a torch, and a reflector. We've discovered that we didn't need the trolley as much, as when we were in use, we found that the camera was jolting, and the motion on the floor made the camera going up and down. So we didn't use the dolly in the end. The torch was useful for the interior shots. We didn't want the torch to go directly onto the camera and on the artist's face for one of our shots. So this is what we used the reflector for, which was really good. We've used different types. So we've got the silver one, which gave a sort of a lighter effect in terms of white, but for the interior we used the gold reflector. This made a more warming sensation for viewers to see. So we've put the torch onto the reflector and made sure that the reflector went onto a face in a particular angle. this gave a good effect for us, and yeah, this gave a good effect for us.